God is dead, and I'm sorry. And whatever genuine faith might still exist in the country, the current administration intends to use various tricks to reshape your worldview until you don't just not care about widows and orphans, but you despise them, you resent them, and you report them to the government so they get what they deserve. We've seen this in the past. You're probably thinking I'm going to say 1930s Germany, right? You wouldn't be wrong, but I'm talking about the year 312, the first time a government co-opted Christianity. Previously, Christianity had been illegal. That's why all the New Testament writers are kind of paranoid and keep talking about how you need to obey all the laws and God ordains political powers because Paul and other writers didn't want Christians going out and getting arrested and being given mandatory lion playtime. Those passages are supposed to have a bit of a wink to them, but your pastor won't tell you that. Christians in America, for as long as I've been alive, haven't experienced meaningful persecution. Which isn't to say that everyone is always nice to you. In high school in the 90s, my classmates would jokingly call me God Boy. Nobody ever hit me for being a Christian. My advanced biology teacher rolled his eyes when I asked if maybe the complexity of the human eye indicated a divine hand in the creation of humanity. I probably did get a few resumes thrown out when people saw that I had a Bible college degree. But any prejudice I experienced as a Christian was mostly in my own head. I heard preachers telling me all my life that the world was against me, the world wanted to hurt me. Spoiler, people, particularly people who run companies, want to take advantage of you, but they want to do that because you're alive and you have money and they can try and separate that from you. Over and over, people, be they executives or preachers, will use the paranoia that is built into the church to convince people to vote against what Jesus would have supported. There's a fantastic book called Binding the Strong Man by Ched Myers. It's a bit of an academic read, but it follows Jesus through the book of Mark, which, if you didn't know, is the earliest of the Gospels, so everyone who studies theology views it as the most accurate. In it, he goes over all the miracles Jesus does in the Gospels. The thing that I didn't know before reading that book was that every single one of Jesus's miracles in the book of Mark is political. Jesus keeps bouncing back and forth across the Sea of Galilee. On one side, Jesus is always clashing with the secular authorities, the occupying Roman authorities who are oppressing the Jewish people. On the other side, he's always clashing with the Jewish religious leaders, who are also persecuting the Jewish people. Every miracle Jesus does on either side, he's flipping off whoever's in charge. The Jesus of the Bible is very different from the Jesus children get taught about in Sunday school or in vacation Bible school. The Jesus you're taught in the church, he follows rules. He listens to his mom and dad, and he is perfectly obedient. Because as a kid, you're told that sin is just not being perfect, which is why you need to say a little prayer. So, when was Christianity co opted for the first time? It was in the year 312 by the Emperor Constantine, who was not a Christian, but he claimed that he had a dream. Ancient people love to claim that divine revelation had come to them in a dream. But Constantine claims that he had a dream of his army winning a big battle with the sign of the cross plastered upon their shields. So then just Christianity becomes the official religion of the state of Rome. And there's a lot of reasons why he chose to do that. You can look into that on your own. But the thing to understand is that Christianity doesn't redeem Rome. Rome corrupts Christianity. I'm not going to go into everything that comes out of that, including forced baptisms where whole swaths of people are marched into lakes, and if you come out the other end, I guess you're a Christian now. If not, you're dead, enjoy hell. But if you're currently a church going Christian, you're probably going to see the way that your pastor talks change. Even if he was already in the bag for Trump, you're going to see preachers and pastors over the next few years attempt to justify the most anti Christian behavior you could possibly see. It's going to hurt and it's going to be confusing. You're going to feel like you can't leave because this church, whichever one it is, you belong to it and it's part of who you are. And unless somebody steps in to stop him, the US government will take that away from you, or they'll take away who you are. It's not fair, and I'm sorry. When Jesus was asked what the greatest commandment was, he said, all the law and the prophets, which was the Bible as it existed at the time, hang on this commandment to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. And the second is like it, to love your neighbor as yourself. And it's worth noting that at the time, your neighbor would most likely not have been a citizen of Rome. Jesus was not a citizen of Rome, and it was Rome that ended his life. And the American Roman Empire will insist you remain silent as Rome takes the lives of the least of these over and over and over until you forget who you are. And I'm sorry.